welcome back to Recorder on the Wall. I'm your Papa Abbot Pete, and we spray painted home on my chair.
Uh-oh, Abbot Pete is angry.
It wasn't me.
No.
Take the can. Take it, Jeremy. Take it. Wasn't me. Nothing to do with it.
I'm the great Jeremy.
I'm a widow troublemaker. I'm Matthias.
I'm Katie, and I'm totally innocent.
Pretty much. Yes, I was out last episode. Long story short, everything's okay, but we had some minor family things to deal with. So
At least you weren't on fire?
yes, I was not on fire. I could have been earlier tonight when I was barbecuing because it's still warm enough to do that here. So
I was just curious if you had any thoughts about book 2.
in general, it's still enjoyable, especially the pearl riddles and whatnot, figuring them out. But kind of echoing what's already been said, Hickman's death is like, holy crap.
Yep.
I mean, he's never shied away from hero or villain death before, but there's always been some veneer of plot armor protecting kids, or at least young adults, to some degree. Nope, that's gone. Holy crap. So that took me off guard. Unfortunately, I wasn't here to say, make the joke about someone bringing marshmallows and chocolate and graham crackers to the St. Ninian's fire, but, like I wanted to. But that's okay. And, yeah, St. Ninian's is embers. Oh, dear. But I don't disparage Brian for doing this in plot because Rollo's right. This is usually used as a forward staging base to attack Redwall.
St. Ninians, you will never find a greater or more wretched hive of scum and villainy.
We must be cautious. But it's embers now, and it's never going to be mentioned again as far as my memory goes back on this series. But remember, I stopped Integra.
In publication order, technically it is because of Legend of Luke, but I think otherwise, yeah, it's not mentioned again.
No.
And I guess as far as I go, yeah, pretty much the same thing. Cracklin's death was a no, not Cracklin, Pickman. I can't
Pickman.
I've been gone an episode and I already have forgotten how to speak.
Oh dear.
Death was a real gut punch.
Yes.
What, did George R. R. Martin consult on this one?
And then, like, Romska's death is like just a follow-up slap in the face.
I liked her.
Yeah.
I think I've just been making all these lists for our, wrap-up episode when we inevitably finish the series and find Mr. Squirrel. I was thinking we should do, saddest vermin death, best gray character, all these things. I'm making lists in my head of maybe we could have people vote on them in the community.
Romska in both.
Yes.
I mean, the best gray characters, obviously Blaggett. We already know that. So.
I don't know. I kind of like Romska.
Romska's more... Blaggett was more good and kind of thick-headed. Romska, I think, is more gray.
Well, I disagree. I think Blaggett was definitely a gray character. She's more of a dark gray.
He is following orders
with dark gray and black.
Okay, Lego Batman.
I'm Batman.
But yeah, I think those would be fun conversations to have once the whole series is over, and we
absolutely.
can.
We will get there, I'm sure.
One of these days.
But so this book starts again. Tell me if this sounds familiar. The Abbey Warrior is chasing someone who stole his people, but this time it's over water.
Yep.
Yeah. And unfortunately, there's no Tim Curry to be had. Oh. That's okay, though. Matthias, I saw in your notes you wanted to cast a certain person as Ublaz.
Yeah, David Tennant.
Oh.
Yeah, he can play a pretty convincing villain. I could only watch one episode of Jessica Jones for a reason. And if you're not familiar, he plays the Purple Man, who is, as Marvel villains go, he is kind of terrifying. And it's not that he's super strong or anything. He is, if he's in short enough, if he's in close enough range, he basically has special mental things that can make you pretty much do whatever he says, even killing your best friend with a whole smile on your face. And they cast the Doctor to play him.
Weird.
It's terrifying. No, that's not
yes.
a bad choice.
Yeah. Good Ublaz, I think.
Yeah. So while the Abbey Warrior is chasing his people down, we still have the villain drama, and things are still not going very well for Ublaz. He kind of did get rid of his most major rival by sinking his ship from underneath him.
But then he came back.
Rival survived.
Yes,
Oh.
if you try to kill someone and fail, chances are they're going to be angry and want revenge. Just I think it's in the handbook of verminitude, if that's a word. I don't think it is, but now it is.
If we borrow from outright Transformers, Decepticons and other villain factions are totally fine with treachery if it works.
Right.
How did Megatron from Beast Wars put it? Treachery requires no mistakes. So, yeah, but Ublaz has made a few here.
Yep.
Just a few.
I think it's more
I say to him,
I don't really have a problem with what you're doing, more of the stupid way you're doing it.
yeah. I say to him, Ublaz, your confidence is admirable, but foolish. Well, I haven't any of your schemes worked so far. Think carefully now. No, it isn't the Trident Rat's fault. No, not your Monitor Lizards either. Give up? It's your fault. Your petty tyrannical egomaniac self is to blame. Now go out there and prove me right. Attaboy.
I could just imagine. I would love a brilliant subversion in one of these books where the big bad just kind of blinks and looks at Dad. He blinks for a second, and he or she's like, "Wait, am I the bad guy?" They have a moral crisis right then and there.
I just love Ublaz's, well, my last ambush didn't work. This one will totally work. Why isn't anybody doing anything? Oh, shoot.
Yeah, that's what happens when you threaten your people. They go over to the other side.
Mm-hmm.
And back at the Abbey, they have 4 of the 5 pearls, and they're still
Or the
searching.
6.
Excuse me, 4 of 6, and they're searching for the last 2. And what's her name? Firmal the Ancient. Yeah, your 5th one was kind of I won't say obvious, but pretty easy compared to the ones so far.
I didn't know where it could be. I'm not sure why they couldn't find it. Anyway.
Yeah.
But the 6th one, good lord.
Now, when people talk about how convoluted some of Jake's riddles can be, this is probably the one they're thinking of, because this makes no sense. There's nothing in it that tells you what the answer could possibly be. You have to have the answer given to you. Some of the other ones you could probably figure out, at least in some context, but here it only gives you half the clue, and then the other half of the clue is just a B.
Yep.
Yeah.
I can just imagine, if the Corsairs actually did try invading Redwall and stumbled across these poems, they'd be like, shoot. Go back to Ublaz. Well, we kind of found the pearls. We know they're in Redwall Abbey. Great. Where are they? Here's a poem. Have fun with that.
Yeah.
Here's a problem. I can't read.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's like, Ublaz, you claim to be smarter than all of us. You relish the fact that you are smarter than all of us. You handle these riddles.
Good luck.
Yeah.
That's not very fun at all.
Hey, Ublaz, we think one of the pearls is in that broken down church. Why don't you head in there by yourself and try and find it?
Oh, you guys are a bunch of big sissies. Oh, God!
What's wrong with Ublaz? Oh, he's feeling a bit peckish.
Oh.
He's raving about something, and I don't understand.
He didn't find Jack. Duh.
That was
they'll
unusually
end up-
terrible. Good job.
Thank you.
Oh, he can get
I
much
hope you'll-
worse.
Yeah, and then you'll end up eating crow after that.
Carry
Adding
on.
all these to the pun counter. Let me just make a note.
Ding, 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 ding.
We need like a pun sound effect or something.
All right, but getting to it proper, Martin and his crew are they're totally okay, except they're slowly drifting to a mountain sticking out of the water. And okay, yeah, we'll find somewhere to land. Hey, anybody got any food?
We'll just keep circling and around and there doesn't seem to be an entrance. And oh, hello, mysterious otter. Where did you come from?
Klecki also introduces himself. He's from the far northern Monosals. So, remind me, was that his family name?
Something like that.
Yeah.
I'm checking. Yep, that's his family name. Yeah, they meet a random female otter, Winnigold, who's like, "Hey, what are you doing here?"
She appears out of nowhere. So, Winnigold, a.k.a. Bat Otter.
I am the sea.
Taking tips from Oak Tom there.
Yep.
She's like, oh, the seals brought you here? Okay, you're probably friendly enough. So, you see that mountain? Kind of hard to miss. Yeah. Well, there's a secret entrance. So, everybody can swim, right? Great!
Everybody lie
everybody-
down. We're going down a fun water slide. Whee!
Nobody's afraid of water, tight spaces, or being crushed to death, right? All right, here we go. Yeah, don't put me down for this boat ride, by the way.
No.
This sounds horrifying.
And then when they finally get inside the mountain, mountain island, which is basically hell, it's the Lost Woods from Wind Waker. Thinking about it, it's like an interior. It's basically huge rock walls around an interior island itself, and we have Holt Rudder Ring. Rudder Ring? I'm saying that right?
Rudder. Yeah. I think it's Rudder. I don't know. I'll have to look
I'm
up.
calling
the
it
spelling.
Rudder Ring because that's
There you
relatively how it's spelled. And they get in, and how it's described is almost even terrifying because it's a bunch of others, and everyone, even the kids, are fully armed. Good Lord.
Yeah, it
Further
reminds me of. Have you guys read The Lottery, the short story?
No.
Yes.
Where
No.
everyone throws stones, including the tiny baby who just grabs some pebbles and starts throwing stones at people. That's
Yep.
what this reminded me of.
Well, this is further evidence that they have not, in fact, found Holt Ruddering. They found the Otter Cave. I wonder if they have otter rings.
Now, don't make me think of the Adam West Batman, because that would be even more hilarious here. But
So would Walliam be like crotchety old Batman from Batman Beyond?
yeah,
He seems too good-natured. He seems kind of easygoing.
So he's the Jim Gordon of Ruddering.
fair enough.
Perhaps.
Or no, he's Alfred. There we go. I say, sir, you have an amazing sword there. Can I have it?
Mine now. This is
Yeah.
mine now.
I literally wrote that. Walliam's taking Martin's sword thinking, this is mine now.
No, he's not Badrang.
No. But Martin's basically like, hey, here's my sword. I'm totally peaceful, and the seals brought us here.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
We mean you no harm. Ignore our weapons.
So I just thought of a really bad pun. We mean you no harm.
No.
I'm-
well, my young apprentice.
I'm adding that to my own pun counter. Give me a
So-
second.
Hey,
All right.
So
Grath
page
also
one.
Yeah.
Grath outright introduces herself as from Holt Lutra, and she's very polite about it. And he's like, "Oh, I like you. Okay, so who needs some food? Wait, you brought a hare? Oh no!"
Well, we're all gonna starve to death. Also, he
Well,
tells the story of how they found Holt Ruttering. This sounds wrong. The ancestors of these otters invaded this island, kicked out its rightful owners, and took over. The whole
Sounds like
reason
white
those
people.
lizards are on San Petra is because the otters kicked them out.
Sounds like white people.
No comment.
Sorry, you may have to cut that out.
I don't know. I'm trying not to laugh here too.
Wow.
No comment.
I mean, on that same vein, I was listening to the NPR the other day. Apparently, the new Frozen is pretty much the same kind of idea.
Wait, they kick out a bunch of indigenous people?
Oh, no. I think it's more the two sisters find out what happens when you invade an island, or you walk into a land with indigenous people. That goes horribly wrong.
Ah.
That's another topic for another day.
Meanwhile, Klecky sings.
Before that, and this was my own reading this morning when I was totally finishing this, not last minute. But when I read these books, if I have any music on, it's classical, because if I had anything else, it'll distract me. And I kid you not, the second Grath and Inbar, who is the chieftain's son, and apparently is this super tall, almost Blackford, burly-looking guy. The second Grath and Inbar meet, I had one of those classic love themes play through YouTube, and I'd facepalm, and I was just like, really? It was the yeah, I was just like, you've got to be kidding me, universe.
They're comparing bows. Your bow is really nice. So is yours. Check out my arrows. I'll let everyone's minds figure that one out.
Oh boy.
But yes, Grath meets Inbar. True Flight. Thank you.
Subtlety.
Inbar True Flight, who is the chieftain's son, and he's like, "Hey, I like your arrows, but my arrows have red fletches.
Mine are green. Together we've performed Christmas miracles."
But they even challenge each other to a shooting contest. I don't know.
Yeah.
And yes, then Klecky sings, and it's actually one of the funnier sequences.
Yeah.
In this book. I mean, I've gotten to the point where I'm still trying to read the songs, and not zone out, because that was something I was definitely doing as a kid. But Klecky, apparently, I don't know if the crowd likes his song or not, but the two sons of Logog with him keep throwing seeds at him.
Actually, we find out it's not those two. It's Viola and Winnie Gold. He thinks it's them, and he chases them off, and Viola is like, "Nope, that was me."
Yep.
But I mean, his music isn't as cringe-inducing as what was Han Rosie's husband?
Tarquin.
Thank you, Tarquin.
Yes.
Oh, I thought you were going to say it's not as horrible as Han Rosie singing. Or what's her face from Lord Brock? Dottie.
Yes.
With her hair accordion that got annihilated by the end of the book.
Yeah.
No, Tarquin's songs always make me more cringe because, as we've mentioned, the Severus Snape level creep.
Yeah.
So, we already went over that.
Tarquin starts singing, "Every breath you take, I'll be watching you."
Yeah.
Well, on a different note, the setting for Holt Rudderwake, I really like how the tropical environment is described, but it also just pops this idea into my head, this image of otters dancing in hula skirts.
Okay.
So
You're
this
welcome.
is where the postcards will come in the future in this series. Here. Travel to Rudderring, missing you already.
I'm picturing the goose from Hyrule Lane just flying in with one of those postcards around his neck. Like, here you go.
Oh no.
Mahamlo.
Meanwhile, the chieftain William basically says, Martin, hey, you really look like some crazy guy who saw in my dreams, except he had armor.
Show me what to do. Command me, oh magic mouse. Did like original Martin get bored at Redwall and be like, all right, these guys have this under control. Ooh, an otter I can haunt.
I mean, he's been known to go as far. He went as far as Terramort with the scorpion that killed Gabool. He pretty much convinced the badger that in that story to hey, throw it at Gabool. It'll be loads of laps.
This is true. Martin wanted to go on an island getaway.
I need a vacation, guys. Hey, Abbot Turtle got kidnapped. Okay, well.
Kill 2 birds with 1 stone. Get my vacation and influence the story.
Meanwhile, let's talk about Arvin, because, I mean, he started off this story cute, but by this 3rd book, someone needs to discipline him.
Arvin,
Yeah.
the story padding.
My God,
Literally.
Alma, you are slacking here.
The last 2 pearls, he drags it out being obnoxious and annoying. Though, to be fair, he is the one that finds where the 5th pearl is, because everyone else is too dumb to figure it out, apparently.
The 5th pearl is basically tied into the tapestry, and it's kind of, I won't say it's obvious from the riddle, but it's like, oh, that's probably the tapestry. It's talking about Martin. Where's the one image of Martin everyone knows? No one discovered this before now.
And even Geralt's like, what are those 2 things in your face? Eyes? Okay, what does an eye sound like? Eye? What word is similar to that? Eye? Have you figured it out? No? You're dumb.
All those in favor say aye.
I
Aye.
But
Yeah,
Arvin also...
Well, I'd also ask where the parents of all these children are, but I think we all know the answer to that.
Orphans.
More orphans.
More orphans.
Yep. Now, admittedly, I'm a bit frustrated with Arvin too. It's just other Dibbins have had important roles in previous Redwall stories, but Arvin's behavior, it annoys me because he clearly knows more than he lets on, and he's being spiteful and intentionally making other people work harder. It's like, okay, let's take a look at a good example. Look at baby Rolo in Matameo. He was sweet and adorable, and everybody loves him and wants more of him.
Mm-hmm.
Now let's take a look at the opposite end of the spectrum. When we get there, baby Dwapple and Marl Fox, who's a literal terror. And it's okay, baby Dwapple is the worst, but you are entertained by that. Arvin's somewhere in the middle where it's just like you're annoyed and aggravated, like that itch in the middle of your back that you can't quite scratch and it just won't go away. It's like, please stop.
Yeah. And I'm still like, after he literally puts the clue to the 6th pearl in his mouth.
Yeah,
Yes.
and then runs away. And, oh, God. And Rolo's just like, okay, that's it. I'm done. You guys go after him. I at least helped out with the riddles when I was a kid.
Right.
Hey,
I
why
took my
is
time.
Alma breaking a tree off a branch? Oh, God.
And it's even, like, it's also crazy because we know what happens with Arvin in the next book. Like,
Yeah, spoilers here. Arvin ends up being the Abbey warrior to succeed Martin.
Yeah.
Because that's a thing, apparently.
Yeah, which is okay. Also, to be fair, I don't remember him actually doing anything in the next book.
Well, he was dead at that point.
No, he's in Long Patrol.
He's an adult.
Oh,
in
that's
Long
right.
Patrol.
Sorry. So I'm still on Marl Fox. Sorry.
No worries.
Yes.
Yeah,
I'm
but
actually jumped
yeah,
in.
I don't remember him actually doing anything in Long Patrol. Like, I remember him being injured at the end, but that's about it. Well, anyway,
Yeah,
that's Long
most
Patrol.
of-
We'll get there.
Most
Spoiler:
of his
Arvin
mischievous
doesn't die in Long Patrol.
most of his mischievous personality just kind of goes away, as he grows up. And you can kind of tell in Long Patrol, I'm jumping ahead here, but Long Patrol Tansy still kind of maintains some of her playfulness and like her mischief side, even as she's an abbess. But Arvin's just kind of boring.
Well, I guess I'm a responsible warrior now. Okay.
Yeah. We'll get there when we get there. But yeah, that was just my observation.
Yeah. And then they find the riddle, don't understand it, and go to sleep. And then Martin shows up and gives the hint. And I could just picture Faramol yelling at Martin, like, "Darn it, these are my riddles. Stop helping.
No.
Stop spoiling."
You could have outsourced the Gonf like all of us do, but no, you just had to do this yourself. So I'm helping.
You made it too hard for them. It's going to take too much time. This is not a 6,000-page novel. This is a little over 400. So you know what? They need some help.
Martin is game FAQs.
So I'm Martin Tay Warrior, and this is my walkthrough guide for how to find all the pearls.
I do have to laugh in that same chapter where Arvin puts the clue in his mouth. Yeah. They do have Dibbins actually showing initiative and responsibility where they're pushing a food tray around. And they go to Alma and she's like, "Okay, here's your hot root soup." She's like, "Nah, I'm good." "No, you will have it."
Yeah.
Also, I'd like to point out another nameless mouse babe. This is Mouse Babe the second.
Well, we already have Martin the second, so...
It's Diggum the Mole Babe who's serving her.
Huh? No, there's a mouse babe that Arvin
is trying to feed another child.
Yep, but
Yeah.
is another nameless mouse babe.
Yep.
I love this. There's like these are the worst parents. Like not only are these orphans, they're orphans with no names. This mouse babe doesn't have a name. Well, meanwhile, in the next chapter, Ublaz has a brand new, brilliant plan that backfires on him immediately. Great job. Good job, buddy.
What happened to my trident rods? Oh.
And
I'm just imagining all the other villains who have passed on to Dark Forest, just kind of like gathered around a TV screen heckling, like with popcorn.
Hey, Gabul, your one thing where you're the crazy guy on an island is someone else stole your thing.
Well, as long as he doesn't get killed by one of his own pets, at least, I can claim that.
You want to tell him? No, let him find out for himself.
I just picture Clog and Gabul being really good friends.
Oh, absolutely.
Totally.
Badrang's just sitting there like, oh god, there's two of them now.
Yeah.
And yeah. I also like earlier in the book, after Resconza kills whoever the last leader was, and Ublaz is like, "Oh, all the captains are dead. I just have one guy to deal with instead of 6. This will be so much easier."
Yeah, about that.
That didn't turn out too well there. And then he's like, "Don't worry, Lask, it will totally be arriving soon. I know he'll help me. There's no way that. Why is that ship? Oh, look, it's the Waveworm. Yeah, why is it just kind of careening into the? Oh.
And there's Rakanza. Literally, he's just smelling flowers in the field. He's like, you need a minute there, Ublaz?
I would also like to ask, did Ublaz really think that Romsko was going to side with him? Like, he must be pretty desperate. Like, I'm sure this Corsair that hates my lizards and probably dislikes me will totally side with me against the other Corsairs.
I think he just assumes she's sort of just game to go along with whatever, and if not, he can hypnotize her.
True. Also, I really like the line, "Death had visited the Waveworm."
Yeah.
Yep. So we do find out right before the Waveworm comes into port that Abbot Pete is still the only one on board, but he's taken the time and effort to get rid of everybody who had been killed.
He somehow dislodged Lask from the door. Like, how strong is Abbot Durrell?
Abbott,
that's what-
smash!
Maybe that's what made him so like delirious. He's just like, oh, I'm so tired.
Yeah.
Man, cleaning
Without-
up these bodies is exhausting work.
Without
Yeah.
going into too much what bodies do when they die, yeah, it's little wonder he's sick. Yeah, he has-
Oh.
He has no food, regular food, and he is literally like, I'm drifting into an island full of hostile people. Oh, this is not good.
Yeah.
And he's probably dehydrated too. I mean,
Yep.
Mhm.
Yeah.
there was only so much left over, and the water quality was already bad to begin with. So I can only imagine what was in there.
Yeah.
Oh, God. Oh, look, there's still casks of beer. Get drunk.
Yeah.
Although that would be quite hilarious to see an abbot completely drunk, but I don't think that'll never happen in these books.
No, I don't think it ever happens in the book. Spoilers.
But Ublaz finally gets on the wave worm, and he's just like, hey, where's everybody?
Hello? Like, reinforcements? Lask? Lask? Come out wherever
Anybody?
you are.
Yeah.
Why does that look like lizard blood everywhere?
Who wrote red rum on the deck?
Why is there a Lask-shaped hole through this door?
Okay, now you're making me think it's like some sort of cartoon outline hole. Like,
Yes. Wham.
and Ublaz is like, oh, you must be the abbot. He doesn't actually say it out loud, but Abbot is he's outright, he's delirious.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And,
Abbot.
He's probably got a bad fever, I would guess.
Hmm.
yeah. And Ublaz is just like,
Well,
this day is not going the way I wanted it to.
I'm sure, well, I guess I have my hostage. And, the smart thing would be to, like, see to his medical needs and keep him healthy because we need him to trade for the pearls, but,
Nope.
I'm just gonna chain him in my throne room.
Let's
Yeah.
just chain him up in the throne room.
Yeah, calling a tactical error here. The Redwallers if you let the abbot die due to sickness, the Redwallers have no reason to give you your pearls. But I know he's got other problems to worry about right now, but still.
Right.
Well, that, and I'm sure he always wanted his own pet abbot.
Yeah.
He is housebroken.
Do you want to go for a walk, girl? Huh? Do you want to go for a walk, boy?
Find out back on with the Otterholt ruddering, they repair the ship as best they can and reprovision it and said, okay, we're gonna tell the seals to take you as far San Petra, but they probably won't. They'll totally leave you after that point. They won't be back. So
I
Hey,
wonder how
Gav,
much.
I'm going.
I wonder how much a seal Uber to San Petra costs.
I can't get signal out here. Hey, does someone have another phone? They even have a.
So,
effectively a dog whistle.
what GPS do the seals, instead of using TomTom as their GPS, they'd use HomHom?
Yes. We do. The otters literally have, for lack of a better way to describe it, a dog whistle, except it's a seal whistle.
A seal whistle.
The seals can hear a different pitch of range of pitches than the otters.
And now
And-
you know.
And one thing I didn't get to talk about since I wasn't here last episode is my mind kept running to whale speak from Finding Nemo.
I just recently watched that too. I guess
That's
we
a good
could have
one.
mentioned that when they were passing by the whales.
Yeah.
Oh, that's all right. I made a Star Trek 4 reference, so I'm happy with that one.
There be seals here, Captain.
Admiral, there be whales here.
Why are you calling me an admiral? I don't know.
Seemed like the right thing to do. And
But yeah,
Inbar decides to go with them, and he's like, "Oh, I should go back and get my bow and arrows." And then Grath just goes, "Oh, you mean these? Yeah, your dad and I assumed you'd be coming, so I stole them."
Hey, you're the only
Pretty
girl my
choice.
age I haven't grown up with. Give me a break. I will point out that no, Jakes does not write a deliberate romance here, and I'm totally fine with that, but I'm still going to make those jokes.
Yeah. Well, I can see what's happening.
And they don't have a
Everyone
clue.
see what's happening.
They're going to fall in love over murder.
Yeah. And
And I want to point out something.
Mhm.
They're talking about Redwall, and it's like, oh, what's it like there? And Viola starts talking about, how great it is and whatnot. And it's like, Viola, you're stealing my superpower. How dare you?
And they finally get back to Redwall, and they're on the sixth one. And this riddle, like we said, is harder than the rest. Not only does it depend on a full moon, which happens once a month, 2 if you're lucky, but you have to be in such a place at so time for it to work.
Yeah.
And wow.
For people who don't know it off the top of their head, it's my 6th and last tear I give unto you when Redwallers lie abed at midnight see in full moon view the purple arrowhead travel east 6 rods from the tip to the rose that blooms ever fair. See if you can find the right hip. Turn west and you're halfway there. It also
I found
requires
my
you
right
knowing
hip.
what she means by rods.
No, she doesn't explain that.
Yeah, that's why I said it assumes you know what she means.
And
I found my right hip, and now I'm turning west, and I'm doing the hokey pokey. Oh, wait.
better
Oh,
than
wait.
Macarena anyway.
Yeah.
Yeah, yes.
Did you know that the guy that invented the hokey pokey passed away recently?
No.
Oh,
The real problem happened when they tried to put him in his casket. They put left leg in and left leg out.
Oh. Why are you shaking him?
oh, well, that's what it's all about.
Yeah. And I'm not sorry.
Nor should you be. That was good.
Fun masters never are.
And we kick off with suddenly Sister Cicely has a sense of humor. And she says to Tansy, "Why do you look so depressed? You look like you just drank some of my nettle soup." I then have to ask, if she knows her soup is awful, why does she keep giving it to people?
Yeah, this is like unusually self-aware for her.
She went to Mossflower Costco and bought the ingredients in bulk. Look, she has to go through it.
It's like this is the Redwall version of Top Ramen. Meanwhile, we get Dust Hard 3 with a vengeance when Tansy goes to the what the heck is, oh my god, gatekeeper room place.
Gatehouse?
House, thank you. Me think good. Well, I know words.
Words do good things. Describe, talk well.
That's the think I do. We're then reminded they still think Viola is lost in the forest.
I'm sure
Yes.
she's fine. And Arvin also points out, hey, wait a minute. You have a fishing rod, right? Oh.
Yeah, and we get a lot of songs coming up.
Yep.
And I have a challenge. I dare someone to try and say the entirety of the Sister Cicely soup song without screwing up.
Nope, I'm not doing it.
I'll do it.
You'll do it?
I'll do it. I got it right here.
Okay.
If Sister Cicely serves some soup, she'll surely see some suppet. Sip that soup if you're sick. Swig it swift, sure and slick. Should it set stiff and slimy, then suck it. If Cicely suspects that each soup has been scorned, she'll slip slyly and even the score. So if Sister persists, woe to him who resists, Cicely's certain to serve him some more.
Nice
go.
job.
And even Alma's pretty... She starts laughing at that, but if the Dibbins learn it, oh no. Wait.
Yeah.
Then... And no one says, hey, go tell the Dibbins. Going back to this terrible riddle, if you go Yeah, I'm not over this because the most obvious solution here is, oh, we must start in the dormitory, but nope. Nope, not at all.
Meanwhile, they seem to forget that Redwall has stained glass windows. I think we've mentioned this before, that a lot of these riddles in these books hinge on the fact that people can't remember anything about the Abbey.
Yeah.
I mean, say what you want about Salamandastron and its entirely morphing architecture from book to book. At least they know their own mountain. To a point. Except forgetting you have a supply of water in the bottom. Even if it is a little corpsey. But...
It's bone broth.
Redwallers forget things from book to book.
They need a better place to store all their parchments and everything that isn't a gatehouse that just is the dust capital of the planet.
But they finally find this missing purple arrowhead, which is basically the moonlight shining in through stained glass windows, which would normally be red, but because it's moonlight instead of sunlight, it's purple. And it's shining on Rollo, and they're like, okay, Rollo, don't move.
Yeah.
And
why?
Yep, but then they follow it to a rose. There's somebody carved a rose into the wall like some odd years ago, and we've never seen this thing before. And they say, find your left hip and turn west. And so Tansy just looks at her hip and starts spinning in a circle, and Crackling and Rollo are like, the heck are you doing? And the two of them are like, all right, okay, while you spin around and fall over, we're going to actually try to figure out the riddle. It's probably the one moment in the book of Tansy not exactly being the brightest.
Well, it is late at night, so.
It is, it's midnight.
This is true. At midnight, I'd be lucky to find actually find my hip, let alone be able to solve a riddle.
Yes.
But the hip actually refers to a part of a rose plant.
Who's hip?
A rose hip.
Yep.
And they literally turn the carving. And out pops the pearl. No.
They find the box. What's in the box?
Nothing! Absolutely nothing!
Stupid!
So
they were looking.
Can we make in one joke?
Well, they were looking for a stone rose. You could say it was a rose that can't die. I don't apologize.
Yes.
And somewhere I hear Drew.
Last time we saw Stone Rose was when she got fed all those drugs. Oh wait, that was a stoned rose. Never mind.
Jake's also ends the chapter without even telling you what's in the box.
Yeah.
Roll a picture and open it.
Back to Ublaz.
Hey boss, can I poke your Abbot pet? No, don't.
Oh, poor girl.
I know. Really feel
Poor
bad.
Abbot.
And Ublaz is just sitting there going, well, I've got less than 60 lizards. I've got tons and tons of enemies outside. And, well, at least I have the wave worm, so I could use that to escape, in case anything bad happens. I'm sure nothing will happen to that ship that I have no guards around.
Yeah.
Wait a minute. I want to read the quote.
Mm-hmm.
This is just a little too beautiful.
Mm-hmm.
I am Lord of the Oceans, Emperor of Sampetra. I, Ublaz. If I had the tears of all oceans now, they would be set in my crown, all 6 of them, wondrous rose-colored pearls. I would don my green silk mantle, or maybe the black one with gold trim. Then I would walk out among these tavern rats, those wave scum. I would stare at them, snare them with my gaze. Then they would bow to me, salute me, because they would know who I am. Ublaz.
And now I'm just imagining Gabul with a broom tapping from the dark forest, like, hey, knock it off.
I do like the line, I would stare at them.
So the plan is to finish the crown and then stare down your enemies. I must say, that's a terrible plan.
Yeah. It's like, hey,
Delusion.
nice crown. We're going to kill you now.
Delusions of grandeur much?
Yeah.
I mean, we've seen genuinely crazy villains who start crazy and get worse, and then, some villains hold out to almost the very end before they realize, hey, there's no way out of this. Ublaz, arguably, this probably might be his moment where he cracks, because even his replacement for Lask is like, boss, can we use the bales of fire?
And it's like, yes, and make sure you keep all those fire bales right next to the wood.
Yes.
You mean the wood that all those sea rats want to rebuild their ships? Yes, that's the one.
Keep all the flammable stuff right next to it. I'm sure that'll end up well.
You mean the wood that's been drying in this tropical heat where we have absolutely no water moisture in the air whatsoever? Yes. Right next to those.
Yes, exactly. For I am Ublaz, and I think everything will turn out perfectly if I look at it long enough.
Yes.
Because I'm Ublaz.
Because I'm Ublaz. That's his reasoning at this point. Why are you doing this? Because I'm Ublaz.
I do want to point out, last replacement is Zergat, a female monitor lizard. And she outright points out, having a much better time than the first mate back on the Dutchman. Hey, we really can't hold out here.
Yep.
But fortunately,
meanwhile,
does not repeat the same action.
Meanwhile, in the fields, Raskanza is scheming and planning, and all of a sudden, Klecky tumbles down a cliff, rams into all of them, and goes, "Oh, hello, chaps. How are you doing?"
He does a superb Basil impression.
Oh,
He does.
I specifically wrote, and now Klecky continues Basil's tradition of annoying the villains and outrunning them with ease.
My favorite part was when he was like running alongside them, giving them running advice.
Yes. Come on, chin up, back straight. And it's just like leading them around like, this is easy.
Yeah.
And of course, the bad guy says, in bad guy tradition, mistake a hare for a rabbit. And Klecky is not happy with this.
This happens a lot.
This happens in every book.
Pretty much.
I think the one time we've actually seen genuine rabbits was in Martin the Warrior.
Mm-hmm.
And Salamandastron, right?
Oh, right. Was it like Death Eye and what's his face?
Fang Slayer, something like that.
Something like that. Yep.
There is one dark moment in this while he's annoying the vermin. One of them outright says, "I hope that rabbit has plenty of family and friends. Rabbit's good eating. I'm not a roasted rabbit." I'm like, oh no, oh my god. I mean, we see vermin eat birds pretty readily, but this isn't. I don't think this is the first time we've come up on arguably cannibalism. But wow,
they do mention it in Actually, now that I'm thinking about it, in Salamandastron, when they see. Like when they mention the rabbit kids, they're like, "Oh, that weasel or fox or whatever the heck that came through with that sword tried to eat them or something."
Yeah,
wanted to chop them up.
Yep.
Oh well. Luckily, they never catch him. So.
No, and like I said, he bears right in the middle of the group, and he's just like, "Hey, you're running badly."
Yeah.
You're running all wrong, old lad. More thrust on the back paw, and don't flail the tail about so much. Keep it well tucked. That's the style. Well done. What? 2 points to this fellow.
Yeah. Then in the next chapter, to the shock of nobody, Ublaz loses the ship.
Bloody pirates!
And I love it too, is the way they describe it is he's just looking out dumbfoundedly at the ship going, "Hey, who's that mouse?" And those other, "Oh, wait, it looks like they're stealing my ship. Maybe I should do something about that. Oh, let me just see. Oh, yeah, they're definitely stealing it. Wait a minute."
And I know Martin is described as he's just doing this death stare at Ublaz, but I had the image in my head where he's just casually leaning on his sword, waving like, "Hi!"
This is mine now.
Thanks for the ship.
Yep. Hey, nice ship. Think I'll take it. And, yeah, what's wrong, Ublaz? Can't work your magic on Martin? Happens a lot to Pine Martins your age.
No, he can't. This is the first time we're told Ublaz can't hypnotize someone. Martin's just like, whatever.
Martin's like, "Why are you staring at me like that? It's creeping me out."
Martin versus Ublaz. Stare.
That should have been the final like battle of this book. It's just two Ublaz and someone else staring at each other for like a page. And it describing like their different looks. It's like they stared, he delved into his eyes, and yeah.
Hey, is Clucky back? We kind of need him. Oh, he'll be fine.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Actually, Clucky does come back and be like, "Hey, I got a prisoner." And Grath goes, "Ooh, sea rat, let me scare him."
And I can just imagine Inbar's just like, oh gosh,
Yeah.
what is she doing?
Darkness.
Speaking of which, I think the poem that she wrote about her family was pretty beautiful. Like sad and beautiful.
Yep.
Actually, now all I can think of is the Lego Batman. Darkness, no,
No
parents.
Yeah.
Really vengeful, kind of makes it better.
Yeah. The sea rat's just like, no, go away. You scare me.
Please keep the scary otter with the knife away from me.
Yeah. It's not as fun as was it Arula who pretended to be crazy? Yes.
Yes.
It was so much more fun.
That was good.
Maggoty apples.
And though I actually do like the gender role reversal here, because usually it's like the guys that's the brooding warrior and the girl's the innocent character. Where
Mhm.
Inbar is like, "You're scaring me. You're angry."
So, yeah. Inbar is definitely like, yeah, you're scary, but I can understand what you're doing, and I don't really know much of killing. I'm a good shot. Well, you better learn quick. Wait, what?
Because we're gonna make it rain Christmas around here, if you know what I'm saying.
I don't catch what you're meaning.
Oh, you will. It's beginning to look a lot like Grath and Inbar.
Oh no. Yeah,
Everywhere you go.
their Christmas cards arrive on red or green arrows, don't they?
Yes.
And so Martin, after the sea rat has been sufficiently scared half to death, goes, "All right, why don't you tell me everything, what's going on here?" And so they find out that's like, oh yeah, there's this angry guy Ublaz who's pissed off literally everybody on the island, and they want him dead. So this is what we're gonna do. And I like this part for two reasons, because Martin starts to give them a plan, but we don't actually hear the plan. So we get to, it's a nice surprise when they start pulling it off. So like it doesn't spoil what's going to happen. And it also gives us another good reason why Martin deserves to be the Abbey warrior and wield the sword, where he's not just a rush in and attack people type person. Like he knows how to plan. But
Even
what
like
happens
his
in
predecessor would have been.
yeah. Matthias, well.
No,
actually,
I mean the original Martin.
Oh
At
yeah,
least
the
on
original.
the era of Martin the Warrior, he liked the just the berserker rage rush.
Yep. Then in Mossflower, he's like, "Okay, here's my plan. We're gonna knock the castle down. We're gonna break everything and flood it." Martin, you feeling okay? I'm fine. Really? Burn.
I do want to point out Martin II here. He also says, "Look, if anyone wants out, I'm not gonna stop you from doing this. This is pretty dangerous, and we could get killed." And everyone, even Viola's just like, "Okay."
Viola's like, "Look, I've heard that cliche before. We're all in."
Yeah.
I do want to point out that there is a very real risk that if they just let the two groups kill each other, they could just walk right in, grab Durrell, and that's it. But they're deliberate. What they're going to do, they're deliberately intensifying the situations so they can get Durrell out. The real risk is that if the two vermin's groups were just to kill each other on their own, Durrell would probably get killed in the interim.
Yeah, and also, who's to say that whichever side wins wouldn't still have enough a nice large army, because there's 6 of them, so like there's not many of them versus whoever the heck wins on either one of these sides.
And back at the Abbey, we finally found out what's in the box.
A dead bee.
Uh-huh.
Wonderful.
After all that, hashtag Team Tears for Abbott Durrell had the wrong Abbey beekeeper to visit. They think they're going to what's his name? Brother Dormal,
Mm-hmm.
but they really needed to go down to the cellars. It's simply unbelievable. I've never seen anything like it, and it's simply an appalling thing to see.
Thank you.
When they found that dead bee, it must have stung.
Yes.
Well, Tansy also wakes up from
But they're not going to turn Yellow Jacket and run away.
Tansy, I'm ignoring that. Tansy wakes up from her late in the morning, and Diggum the Mole Kid's just like, hey, if you want breakfast, you better come get it, otherwise the owl gets it. Hey, where did Tansy go?
She's like, don't give that feathery feedback my food. Oh, wait, where is he? It's the only way we can figure out how to get you up. Meanwhile, Geralt ends up helping them because the bee gets caught in the wind, and suddenly Geralt can fly again.
Yeah. He's like the unkillable owl, irrepressible.
And yeah, this was the point where I was like, God, I could just imagine like the Corsairs trying to figure these puzzles out. They would be all dead and like old and dead before they even found the first pearl.
Boss, you sure you want this crown? Yes.
And so, yeah, Brother Dormal's like, we must go down to the cellar where all the alcohol is. Seriously, no, it's important. Furlough Stump can help us. And then they all go on this important endeavor to find out what cheeses go well with what drink.
I would like to participate in that, please.
Very proper. It's the Furlough Stump's wine and cheese hour.
It's like, they're trying to find a pearl to save the abbot, and he's like, yeah, help me figure out what wine to serve with this cheese.
And they find out from Furl eventually that this is a mason bee, aka carpenter bee.
This is a fun thing to teach kids about, though. Like, sneaking some facts into these books, are you, Jakes?
I mean, I remember right before my parents sold their house and moved and broke my mind that, you know, the house I'd grown up in was now gone. My parents had carpenter bees move in, at least a couple of girls, and suddenly there were male carpenter bees just kind of hovering and waiting for them to come out. Apparently this is their strategy. They don't, you know. And I'm sitting here, this is right after I'd broken up with my first ex, and my mom's explaining what a carpenter bee is and how the males work, and she's like, oh, I relate. Made her break up laughing. But yes, if you're not aware, mason or carpenter bees, they basically burrow into stonework if it's soft enough, or wood more likely, make the home there, and they don't build these grand hives like conventional bees do. So that's where Fermo put the pearl, is a crack in mason work, an entire giant abbey made of sandstone bricks.
Yes.
Oh.
Fairmold, you're a jerk. And,
yeah.
They try finding it. They finally find they don't find the crack. They find Arvin and his two troublemaker friends doing weird bee dances. And they're like, Arvin got this present from a bee. And Arvin's like, he's my precious.
Yeah.
And so they go to the hole in the wall and find a little piece of paper that says, congratulations, you found all the pearls. And they're like, Arvin!
Yeah.
Oh, no. Oh.
Arvin and the Mole Babes.
Yeah.
And so... What?
I would still be better than the live-action movies that came out.
Yeah.
That's not a high bar, I'm aware.
I think it's funny that Arvin appointed himself chief bee, because he obviously has no idea how bees work.
And so to get Arvin to give them the pearl, they're like, well, we're all going to get food. Can I have food? No, you're a selfish little brat.
And rather than calling Alma, this is how they deal with it. But yeah.
Skipper's like, all right, you're no longer an honorary otter warrior. So, yeah, Arvin gives them the final pearl, and now they have all the pearls.
Okay, great. What do we do with them?
Yeah. I'm sure we can trade them now with that guy that's totally not going to get killed in the next couple chapters.
Yep.
And, yeah, so we go back to San Petra, and Klecky decides to walk out with an entire armory on him.
Yep.
I think he might still have... So he's got, like, every single weapon he found in the hold, like Sans sling or throwing knives.
He's not a salamander strong hero. I want to point that out again, but he knows what the heck he's doing.
Mm-hmm. And they say, Grath, you're going to go up to this place, and... I'm at this point, it's like, wait, wouldn't Grath go for the palace so she can have the big showdown with Ublaz? I mean, she totally has the big showdown with Ublaz, right?
Of course.
She gets revenge, right?
Yeah. Oh, look, she's going to be sniping. That means she'll just catch him when he pokes his head out. I'll try looking at her. So we find out that Grath's part in this plan is burn! Fire!
Wow, Grath really knows how to start a luau.
Yeah, Grath's part of the plan is shoot fire arrows at the fire bales that are conveniently right next to the woodpile. And I'd say this is the part that kind of sets Ublaz off and kind of breaks him, where he starts yelling at the lizards to put the fire out as this giant flame is raging in front of them.
Yep. Hey, lizards, what are you doing getting warmed by the fire? Put it out! Hey, they're cold-blooded. You can't blame them.
Yeah.
Yeah, mightiness, this fire feels nice and warm. Yes.
And Raskanza and the Corsairs are like, huh, that looks like a large oh, everything's on fire. And I gotta hand it to Raskanza. He keeps, I mean, no pun intended, literally, he keeps a relatively cool head here and points out that, like, look, even if all that burns, we still have a good working ship. We can go get wood from elsewhere, which... However, then brings up the question of, why didn't you just do that and then leave?
Right.
Because Ublaz would have won.
Well, how? They would have left him stranded on the island with all his lizards.
Oh, point.
Yeah, and the lizards eventually would have gotten hungry enough and they would have eaten him, and that's the end of that.
Or each other. But yeah.
That too. And then the snake in the basement would have been the only thing left alive going like, boss? Hello? Hello? Anyone up there?
I can't eat this gold. I'm hungry.
Yeah.
Anybody?
Yep. And so Grath then makes her way back to the main attack team, and yes, now it's going to happen. She's going to have her final showdown with Ublaz. Right?
No.
Yep. Oh.
Maybe.
I will say the when they finally they show the monitor lizards in group on chapter 52. Oh my!
Oh yeah, that's terrifying.
And they're naked.
Okay, well that too. All right. You know what?
Hey, they are cold-blooded.
If a bunch of naked cannibals wielding spears ran at me, I'd be pretty terrified too.
Yeah.
Oh, they found an epidural. Hey,
Yeah.
this is
really
Where
sad.
are you?
This is really sad.
I know.
It's like,
Poor Eviturl.
yeah.
Hey, Ublaz, what have you been trading him with? Trading?
What have you been feeding him? Feeding?
He needs food?
I thought this was a pet rock.
Yeah, and meanwhile, we find out that Welko and Viola are, like, their mission is to set all the other boats on fire, except then Welko finds the freebooter and goes, "This is mine now."
There's a lot of that in this book.
Really is. This is a book about theft and why it's okay when you're the good guys. So
I mean, they're stealing from pirates, so
yeah. And so Martin's like, okay, now all we have to do is sneak Abbot Durrell out of here, and we can. Oh, hey, look, there's an army of lizards.
yep. And Klecky even outright uses the Salmanstron war cry, although I doubt they have copyright on it.
It seems to be
more
the
of a hare and
general
badger thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, it seems to be the general hare and badger war cry, because Orlando used it in Matameo.
Point. And then he messed it up in that Matameo cartoon. No, I'm not over it.
Yeah.
Oh, gosh.
Wild Ivy.
And I don't know about you guys, but I totally forgot Sagittar was here. Oh, she's dead. Okay.
Yeah, but she doesn't go alone.
No.
Nope.
This is like the most anticlimactic thing in the book so far, where it's just Risconsin, like Sagittar, who's been gone for like 4 chapters, suddenly pops up. Then Risconsin throws a dagger into her, walks over to gloat, and then she stabs him, and now they're both dead.
Yeah, Risconsin's totally not smart here either because she's just like mumbles something. He's like, "What's that? Huh?" And he leans over and she's like, "Ha! Gotcha."
Oh, I'm dead.
Yep. Well, I'm sure the epic duel between Grath and Ublaz will more than make up for this.
Oh, I'm sure.
What?
And speaking of which, she, Inbar, Clucky, and Martin are now stuck in the throne room going, okay, Martin, you had a great plan before. What's our plan now to deal with Ublaz and all his lizards? And Martin decides to channel Earthstripe and just go, let's just attack them.
Why not?
When in doubt.
Yeah. But even like the rest of them are like, are you sure? And he goes, yeah, let's just rush them. We'll have the element of surprise.
Martin, there's over 20 of them.
Element of surprise.
And meanwhile,
Your fella background there.
yeah, there's Bella's motorcycle. Sorry. Apparently it works on an
Bella then
island.
rides up on her motorcycle. I'll help you.
Yeah.
But the Logalog's sons and Vila, they set fire to the ships, and the vermin on the island, who...
They take it well.
No, they don't. Yeah, they take it as well as well as just think like, hey, let's swim for the last working one.
Vila and Welko look at each other going, uh-oh.
And then they start playing whack-a-mole, except for it's not whack-a-mole, it's whack-a-rat, stoat, ferret.
Whack a Corsair.
There we go.
Yes.
How many tickets do I get?
You live.
Yeah.
That's a good prize.
So which one of them wins the Voltron ring? So we get
And
to
then-
chapter 53, and why is the image for this chapter of a mouse dueling with Ublaz?
Oh, I'm sure it's not important.
Yeah, all right. And then
And meanwhile, Zergat, the replacement for Last, she lasts all of 30 seconds.
you won't be missed, especially by Grath and Inbar.
No, they did not miss.
It's beginning to look a lot like Christmas.
Oh, hey, that's festive. Oh, God.
And so Ublaz, seeing the tide turn immediately, runs away and decides to go down to the basement and play with his snake.
Yes.
I don't know if I should censor that.
I'm literally describing what happens.
I know.
There
My
is-
mind went bad places.
Yeah. Giggity.
And, at first it's like, oh, Ublaz has a panic room. That's smart. No, he just wants to go make sure his treasure is safe, instead of trying to run.
Yeah. And so then Grath runs after him and wait, why is Martin here? Oh.
Yeah. Yep.
But before we get to that, we get Kalecki, who makes this awesome stand. He's like, fall back to folk beast, Kleckstar, Lipus, Monstel to the fray. A Monstel am I, tis death to stand before me, particularly in line for dinner.
Well, I mean, anybody who gets in the way of a hare going to eat obviously has a death sentence.
Oh yeah.
Yes.
A death wish. It's just like, No, that's not something you do. That's like a dog or a cat standing in front of a vacuum cleaner. It's obviously instant death. You run.
I was gonna say, if those of you who have never bought an ebook, or at least from Amazon's Kindle versions, the Kindle, both the Kindles you can buy, or the cloud reader, or the individual apps you can put on a phone or a computer, lets you highlight passages that you find funny, find important, and whatnot. Kalecki's "'Tis Death to Stand Before Me, particularly Line for Dinner" is highlighted by the community.
This part of the podcast brought to you by Audible and ebooks.
Or no, it's me rebuying the Redwall series here for this podcast because A, I'm supporting official release, and B, I don't want to add my already considerable book collection that is a pain to move when I have to move.
So I'm just rereading my old books. I've had this copy of Pearls of Lutra since 1997.
There you go.
Or 98, whenever the heck it got printed. And if you look at it, you can totally tell. There's pieces of the outside that are falling off. 1998 is when this paperback version of the book came out. So I have had this book for over 21 years.
Wow.
And then Ublaz took the time in his not panic room to put his crown on, and yeah, he's putting his snake to sleep, and that's when Martin, not Grath, walks in.
Yep. And so the final battle is Martin versus Ublaz, and it's done.
Yep.
It is. It's not. The fight itself is not bad, but it is really short.
I actually like the fact that Ublaz is he's pretty reserved. He knows everything's going to heck, but he's just like, oh, you're Martin from Redwall Abbey. Neat. You got my pearls? No.
I think he's just in denial at this point.
You only brought your sword. Okay. Well, swords are a dangerous thing to bargain with. Yeah. I will totally let you guys go free from here. And I could just see Martin like facepalming, like, "Can we fight now?"
Yeah. Martin's like, "Do you actually believe the words that are coming out of your mouth right now?" So
I think Ublaz may have legit narcissism. Like,
possibly.
Maybe.
I mean, it's not a trait he doesn't already share with a number of the villains. You know, freaking Clooney, as a standard bearer, is certainly narcissistic.
Yeah.
I would say Badrang certainly is.
Yeah.
Sarmina.
Oh yeah.
Ungad.
Well, yep. Well, that reminds me. You know how many narcissists it takes to screw in a light bulb?
How many?
1. They hold it in place and the world revolves around them.
But yeah, Martin pretty much kicks his butt, except Ublaz bites his neck for funsies.
Blah! He is a vampire.
Yep.
And Ublaz, after getting punched in the face, stumbles back, steps on the snake bites him, and as he's dying, Martin goes, "Oh right, the person whose family you murdered, she would probably want to be here for this. Oh, I'll just go, hold Lutra! Into your face."
And yeah, your mic definitely picked that up.
I like that. You know what? Grath deserved this fight, and I even remember way back when I first read this book, I was really disappointed and surprised that Martin got this fight. Like, I think my original reaction was, so did he get this just because his name is Martin?
Pretty much.
Did he bribe the producers? Is that why?
Look, I get one book, and my dad got to be in one in a portion.
Yeah,
so
he's like, look, okay, I'm fine with Grath being on the cover of the book, but I get to get the final battle.
Okay,
He totally Shatnered this.
And Ublaz, as he's dying, he's like, "Oh, darn it." Well, I want to say though, Martin's where he roars Holt Lutra's name in Ublaz's face. If I were writing this and I mentioned this pre-show, I would have made it like cold and whispering, just like, or smug and like a little bit more than just, "I'm gonna shout in your face."
Yeah, that doesn't fit Martin's character, though. He's more straightforward. I mean, earlier in the book, when he found out that Abbot Durrell was kidnapped, he tried to leap off a giant wall to kill somebody. So I think this fits him pretty well.
You got a point.
He's pretty straightforward.
Meanwhile, Viola's still playing Whack-A Corsair.
Yep.
Running out of arcade chips.
Before we get to that, Martin walks out and is like, "So, Montaners, you're back. Your boss is dead. We're out."
And they just kind of stand there like, what?
Which way did he go, George? Which way did he go?
Yeah, I didn't really expect their reaction to be, what we do now?
We don't even get Grath's reaction to that. It's like,
no, we don't. Grath is like, "Oh, who'd you fight down there?" "I know, some guy."
Pine Martin had a crown. I'm sure it's not important.
I'm sure it has nothing to do with you. Like, why did I hear you shouting the name of my Holt down there? I don't know.
Why do you have a crown on your belt?
No,
souvenir.
It was a war.
This is mine now. More theft. Martin's like, "I'm taking this crown too." So I guess we just assume the snake dies of starvation down there eventually.
Or it'll choke on its when it tries to eat Ublaz.
There we go.
Yeah.
Yep. And so Viola and Welko, we find, are fighting off all the Corsairs, and then suddenly SEAL Team Hom shows up.
No, really, the SEALs are back.
Yep. Whack. And that's the end of the Corsairs.
Well, at least the ones who would bother to swim out.
Yep. Hom and his crew just beat the heck out of them.
Yep. And now, basically, the good guys get off the island on Wave Worm and...
On the freebooter.
Oh, excuse me, on the freebooter.
Yep, then they burn the Wave Worm, and they're like, "All right, bye, everybody. Have fun. Try to figure out how to live on that island with, nothing."
Oh,
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, we have our prisoner still. Bonk. Off the side of the ship.
Yeah, beat it.
You can swim for the shore. I give you your life.
Yep.
Can they grow food on that island? We already know there's no wood or trees.
Yeah, I think they'll eventually all just die.
I mean,
they just sentenced all the. Well, also remember the lizards are still there, so I'm wondering. This is basically just battle royale. Who's gonna come out on top?
I'm not sure. I mean, someone's gonna eventually. Someone's gonna step up. Like, I'm the leader now, and that won't last long. So
they'll get stabbed in the back.
So I'm sure they'll find a way to farm the land with no crops
and with no knowledge of how to do that.
Well,
wow, this is dark.
They can go fishing.
It's an interesting point, though, that it seems like the Redwallers, in some way, shape, or form, have really basic assumptions that are absolutely wrong all throughout the book. The big two being, hey, everything's going to be fine when we leave San Petra. They're going to figure things out. And the other being, Viola's just lost in the woods. She'll be fine.
Yeah.
This is kind of like in the first Iron Man movie where he drops down in the middle of that town, kills the terrorists, and then flies away. And it's like, yeah, everything will be fine now. Like, yeah, I'm sure everything's going to be all right there.
Yep.
They were all evil Corsairs.
We did learn that Klecky basically lost an ear during that,
Yeah.
or half of one.
Ouch.
And Viola's like, "I'll make you a nice velvet one, so he'll be the Velveteen Hair."
Well, it looks like Viola's fuss budgetry is finally paying off.
I don't know, she's been through a war. She's grown up.
She's covered wars,
Yeah, wow, this is just so full. I mean, full, yeah, useful. Velvet ear.
Yep, and suddenly Grath is like, "Yeah, I'm totally going to live with the otters at Reddering. Bye."
Well, before they do that, hey, Martin, you still got that crown? Yeah, well, Hom just came on board, so here you go, King.
This is yours now.
This is mine now.
This is a nice... Martin, where'd you get that? I don't know. Took it from some guy.
Souvenir.
He was pretty mad about it. I don't know. It's like, Martin, how'd you get it from him? Well, first I punched him in the face.
Punched him in the eye.
Yeah. In his mad eye.
I
I guess he didn't see that coming. Oh, yeah. And Viola at this point's like, can I go home now?
Yes.
And Grath goes, bye, everybody. See ya. That's the end of my plot arc.
I'm going off with those other people because I don't know what Redwall Abbey's like. But those others are
I
cool.
never will. What do you want to? What about the pearls? I don't care.
No, that's never even addressed with her either.
Well,
We do get
kind of off
Clucky,
screen.
and Martin and Clucky rename the freebooter becomes the Sea King, and
Yes.
Martin the Ghost Martin gets to use that for his own purposes.
Yep.
Yep, he tells
And-
Tansy what
Oh.
to do. And,
Chapter
I
55
would like to
does
say-
show Hom. I'm saying Chapter 55's art shows Hom with his crown.
Yep. And we get a good moment from Alma where it's like, oh, you want to go back to where all those Corsairs had left? All right, Skipper, Log-a-Log, bring your armies.
Yeah. If another one goes missing in the forest, I'm holding you responsible.
Yep. Like, can I bring Arvin and the Dibbins? I
No.
don't see why that wouldn't work.
Ugh.
Like,
Why
yeah,
did they bring Arvin?
I don't know.
He's just the worst.
I mean, he's no Fleet Scud, but man, is this frustrating.
No, Fleet Scut was more worthless than Arvin. Arvin at
Yes.
least found the pearls.
Arvin is at least helping
Yeah.
when he's not hindering.
And Arvin doesn't whine and complain about everything.
No.
And so while they're on the beach, they're like, hey, look, Rolo, we found a little water spider. And he's like, put that back or else this giant crab's going to show up. And I don't know about you guys, but I figure if a giant crab shows up, then the spirit of Gonf will teach someone to dance with it.
I was gonna say
Oh,
all the
okay.
crabs have like a grudge against Gonf, and every time they see a mouse, they're like, "Rah, Gonf!"
I just wrote in my notes, aw, no crab dances this time.
Man, it feels like
Also-
a long time ago now that we read Mossflower.
I know.
Yeah.
But yes, everyone's on a field trip. Hey, is that a ship?
I want to point out. I
Huh?
want to point out the dream that Tansy has. Message from Martin is: haste to the shore, look to the main, not be set by fears. Wait faithfully for a sea king there, and take with you 6 tears. And all I could think is, so they're all waiting for a sea king. Well, the Dibbins are slacking instead of seeking a sea king.
Yep.
Sorry, I had to have some fun with that alliteration.
No, I approve.
And then Martin kind of goes to the spoiler territory and goes, like, visits Tansy in her dream and says, the abbess will know what to do with the pearls. Martin, no spoilers!
Shh, spoilers.
So suddenly the seals show up and everyone's like, what the heck is that?
Yep, and much less Hom is wearing the crown because it looks
Yeah.
good on him.
Yep. And yeah, the Sea King ship arrives. And I really like...
It's a
I
nice
really like
reunion.
how Tansy and Cracklin welcome Viola home as a friend.
Yeah.
That was sweet.
Hey, Tansy, wasn't it you who suggested I go out with Abbot Durrell? No.
Where'd you
What
get
are you
that
talking
idea?
That's crazy. Don't stop. Stop that crazy.
I'm surprised Viola didn't ask about Picnim at all. Like, hey, wasn't there? Where's the other one?
Did you guys have another friend? Oh.
And then
What's
there's
going on?
Plug and...
Why are you crying? Stop crying. No.
And in a good crying, Plug and Welco's like, hi, Dad. So we came home with an awesome ship. We're the best sons.
And
time.
Grath ran away, or decided to go live with other otters, and Log is sad because he really cared about Grath.
Yeah.
He's a big softie. And they give him one of her arrows.
Hey, Martin, where'd you get that cool neck scar? Oh, yeah, that.
He's like, oh, you should see the other guy.
No, that's literally
Literally.
what it's written.
Yeah, it's literally, you should see the other guy. Oh, God. How dismissive are they of Ublaz?
I mean, I actually like him as a villain, but no one seems to actually give him any respect this whole time.
He's the Rodney Dangerfield of all villains.
And Abbott, Durrell's like, I'm feeling much better now.
Yeah.
The voices
I'm
are all
suddenly
gone.
okay. Yep. And we get the big moment where they ask, well, what do we do with the pearls? And the abbot says to Tansy, well, off screen, Grath said these are yours now, so do with them as you will. And we get the big moment, and Tansy, first, like, after staring at them, says, like, how much, like, horror and sadness that they've brought, and Tears of the Oceans is the apt name, and she throws them into the ocean.
Yep.
Which... Okay. I need to soapbox a bit for a bit about this. I get her decision. She's not wrong that these pearls have brought nothing but jealousy and death. And it is tactically smart to get rid of them. Because as long as they exist, that doesn't mean another vermin crew won't come along later and find them. But, and Jeremy, where did you pull this that Grath said she didn't care about them? Because I didn't see that.
I didn't say she didn't care about that. I was joking. But she says, hang on, let me find the actual
I don't
line
think she
here.
brings them up. So
Yeah, so it's the abbot says, I have been told the pearls now belong to you. And
which,
yeah.
Okay, that doesn't necessarily mean Grath said that. It's just, oh, they're yours now.
Yeah. Well, she never mentions them again. I don't think she cared about them.
Yeah, she more cared about her dead kin, which is understandable.
Yeah.
And here's the thing. I'm not saying Tansy didn't make the right decision. I'm saying as after literally one of your friends has died, what you're doing, this is a kind of genuinely frustrating problem, because under any inheritance law on the books, they belong to Grath. But if you don't want to take the time to get them to her at her new home, fine. And you'd worrying about some random vermin army coming over the hill, yes, throwing them in the ocean will get rid of the problem. Or, hear me out, you are literally at the beach, not a few days' journey north is frickin' Salamandastron, which has, as we know from the book that shares its name, has a badger treasure hoard. They can secure them and take them out of play too. So this was one of the things that genuinely frustrated me as a kid. As an adult, it's annoying, but I get the more rationale here. But as a kid, this ending really frustrated the heck out of me. More so than Grath not getting the final kill. Okay, I'm off my soapbox.
I don't have a problem with it. I think it's like a natural part of the story for Tansy. Because throughout the whole story, the whole reason she wanted to get the pearls was to save Abbot Durrell. And now that he's there and is fine, the pearls themselves were never important to her, ever, throughout the whole book. They were never important to anybody at Redwall. Mm-hmm. And throughout the story, we've seen that she has like a good heart. She has a good head on her shoulders outside of the, I'm going to look at my hip and do spins. And it was the quest to find them and help Abbot Durrell and Viola that was important to her. And so when she looks at them, all she sees is the fact that these things, these stupid little pearls, cost the lives of Grath's entire family, cost the life of Picknam, almost cost them the lives of their Abbot and Viola. Mm-hmm. And she looks and goes, there's no reason anybody should ever have these. And she gets rid of them because she believes that nobody should have these. And I don't see the point in them giving it to Salamandastron to keep and just throw in a locker somewhere. So, no, I think this was the exact right thing for her to do. And it pays off because shortly afterwards, Abbot Durrell says Martin had already visited her and said the abbess will know what to do with the pearls. And that the line he says to Durrell, which was, hang on, she who holds the pearls, the abbess of Redwall will be. She who holds on to the pearls cannot rule in place of thee. Only an abbess whose heart sees truth may give pearls unto the sea. And Durrell says to her, they now belong to you. They're yours to do with however you want. And when she looks at them, all she can think of is all the tragedy that surrounded them. And I don't blame her for getting rid of these.
No,
and I
no,
don't see what purpose they would have served to anybody.
Yeah, and I don't think even Grath would want them back, because all she would think of was my parents and my brothers and my sisters died for these things.
Yeah, I don't want to sound like I'm coming off how hypercritical of this one point, because it is the best ending. I recognize that as an adult. I'm just saying, as a kid, this really, really annoyed me.
Oh yeah, I get that. But also, I mean, you got to think, like, these pearls came from the ocean originally. So back to the ocean they shall go.
Yep.
And Durrell totally didn't make up this riddle from Martin just because he's tired and wants to retire from his office. You're brown now, kid.
To being friar.
You're brown now, kid. I'm done.
Yep.
Wait, are we fine with a teenager ruling the abbey?
I just want to add in something between the two of you. Jeremy being like, yeah, I'm cool with it. Pete, you were saying, yeah, that annoys you as a kid. I'm halfway in between. There's part of me that says, okay, maybe not give them to Salamunde Estron, maybe exchange them for something else, some goods, some service in the future. It's like, hey, march down here next summer and help us with a big project or something. I don't know. Then there's the other side of me that's like, yeah, every time Tansy, if she held on to them, would look at these things, all she would think about is the process of collecting them. And literally none of them have good memories associated, except maybe the pearl that was hidden inside the giant candle, with Clucky accidentally knocking it over, trying to stuff his face.
Yes.
So, I mean, all the hardship, all of the just sitting around trying to rack your brain, figuring things out, trying to solve things while sitting in the infirmary, mourning the death of your friend while being forced to drink warm nettle soup. I don't blame her for having bad memories with these things as being, I just want to get rid of them. I don't want to think about anything that's associated with these things. I look at this one and I see my aggravation with Arvin. I look over at this one and it's just like, we got attacked by seagulls and none of it's happy. And I think that's all she wants, is just to have her friends and her, well, basically her family just be around her to be satisfied. And the pearls in no way can offer any kind of satisfaction. Okay, I'm done with my soapbox.
Like I said, right after Girl's like, okay, this is your Redwall's yours now. I'm done. Martin reinforces with the decision because as Abbey Warrior technically now reports to her. He puts the sword right in front of her and says, look, all right, I'm your command. And Tansy's first action is like, she picks up the sword. It's like, oh, gosh, that's heavy.
Yeah.
Let's go home and have food?
And Clecky's like, best idea ever. You're the best abbess if you keep telling us to eat.
Yeah.
And yeah, we get a good epilogue where we find out that Cracklin is now the recorder for the abbey. And she talks about how Durrell is now co-friar with Higgle. And I like how, like, we even get more of Durrell speaks very highly of Ramska in the epilogue, and then when asked about anything on the island, he's like, "Oh, no, none of that's important."
Most of it was a fever dream. So.
Yeah, but yeah, like they do their best to forget that Ublaz ever existed. But Ramska, because she was, good to a degree, and she did help Durrell and took on Lask, and yeah, they remember her fondly. That she wasn't all bad.
So Viola has become chief medical officer in the sick bay, and she immediately gets rid of the warm nettle broth, but now replaces it with a seaweed and cockleshell potion.
And I thought she was getting character development. I thought she was getting better.
This is her revenge. This is actually her revenge. She's like, all right, all that stuff I had to go through, check this out.
It's like, oh, my friends, good to see you. Good to be home. My rival has become Abbas. No! I will concoct a revenge with an actual concoction.
We are told that the Logolog and Skipper, closest Holt to Redwall, they stay the winter at Redwall, but in spring they're going to take out the Sea King on basically a pleasure cruise. And they're quote, have to endure Klecky's company. He's appointed himself Redwall Hare in charge of nautical activities and insists be calling captain.
So now Klecky has delusions of grandeur.
Apparently. And Girl is going with him as cook owl.
Yeah, oh yeah, I foresee that voyage lasting a day. They turn back around and go, all right, Geralt ate all the food. I would not trust that. I like Geralt. I would not trust him to be a cook.
Yeah.
We see Arbin, Digham, and Gerbil they're training to replace Furlough Stump as cellar keepers. He won't have that job in the next book.
Nope.
And apparently, Corsairs and Sea Rats haven't been seen in a long time.
Gee, I wonder why.
I'm sure they're fine on that island. Right?
Oh god, they're just like they head back to the island. I wonder how that all turned out. Why is all the water red? Just like bodies everywhere.
Well, you basically just made Salamander Strawn's job a lot easier for a while.
Oh yeah. Whoever's
Till
in
the
charge
rapscallions show up.
Oh yes.
Mm-hmm.
Until next time.
Yes.
So yeah, that ends Pearls, and despite us all soapboxing about it, overall, this has been a good return to form. We got a genuine, fun story that takes us away from the Abbey for once, while still keeping us there. Both A and B plots are solid.
Yeah, I think this is better than what like Salamander Strawn the book did, where almost everything that happens at Redwall itself after Sam Kim and Arula leave is pretty pointless. Like, doesn't really add much to the story outside of, well, we have to keep Redwall in the book. Whereas here, every single subplot feels important.
Yeah.
And this is one of the few books where we see like a full-on civil war going on between the villains. And unlike with Clog and Badrang, where Badrang just keeps getting the better of him, we actually have we have essentially co-main villains of Riskanza and Ublaz. And Riskanza never attacks the heroes, never goes after them, because he's focused on Ublaz and becoming the captain of captains. And he's more competent of a leader than Ublaz is. Like, he takes care of his troops and he actually listens to them. And I mentioned it in the last book, when one of his crew like starts to complain, he finds a genuine solution for it. He doesn't just like stab him or punch him in the face or snap his neck and throw him out a window.
Right.
And
his death
had a bad habit.
Yeah. His death was still pretty dumb though, like kind of an anticlimactic death. It was fun. I was thinking of, there was a crack fic I was reading about Riskanza and Ublaz arguing about whose death was dumber. It was, you stepped on a snake. Yeah, well, you bent over the person you stabbed, and she stabbed you back.
Yeah, well, I think the final battle with the Ublaz and like the big villain deaths are kind of anticlimactic. I like everything else in this book. Like, the action is good. There's good moments of fun. The sad moments are just, man, they're like a kick in the teeth. But they're like well done. Like, this is the first story where a villain dies, or like a semi-villain dies, and like we felt something for them. Like, we all were sad when Romska died.
Oh, I totally cried. I did. I had tears.
This is the first, like, Blaggett, of course, was a very likable, fun character, but Romska is the first one where she's not sorry for the things she's done. Like, she's still all about that Corsair life, but also has like that good heart where somewhere behind all that. And shortly before she died, she even said to Abbot Durrell, like, maybe if I had you around, I would have turned out better. And maybe if I had a dad like you.
Yep.
And we got just this wonderful cast of characters. So I really enjoyed this book.
Yep, and I just gotta say, sometimes I wonder if I would enjoy these less if there weren't audiobooks. But I gotta say, Rogue Crew didn't have an audiobook. This one didn't have an audiobook. This one is great. Rogue Crew not so great. So I just gotta say, this is a good story.
Well, I think for me, I enjoyed the story. It's very rich, very dense. My problem came from in the first book when I was going through and I wrote my notes. My notes were extensive. This time around, they were maybe half as extensive, maybe even less than that. It's like, not to say that there wasn't story going on. There was story happening. I just didn't feel there was as much that I could grasp onto, either because it was moving too quickly or the actions were just a little too generic. So while I enjoyed it, it didn't have as much of a satisfying finish as some of the other books have had. I think a little bit too much oomph went into the first half of the book, and then the last half, it was adequate, but it could have been better.
I can see that.
Yeah, and Grath's story does kind of fizzle out at the end. I mean, I feel like she deserved a lot more pomp and circumstance for the ending, and I think Martin stole her thunder with the final boss.
Yeah.
Just running in like, I get to fight Ublaz. Like, I remember that bugging me when I was a kid. And I remember when I first read it, I was saying, like, we've never had a main character who used bow and arrows before. Like, I wonder how her final battle with Ublaz is going to go. And then when it happened, I was like, oh. Like, oh, she's just not going to fight him.
Yeah.
No, I do think that could have been done better. But overall, I did like her character. And I liked how she walked that good line between angry, vengeful, survivor, and but then you still see like that friendliness that you assume she had before that terrible stuff happened to her family.
Mm-hmm.
Before we sign off, I do want to thank those 8 of you who have given us ratings on iTunes, and specifically, this is how they wrote their username, Fallen Off a Cliff, who actually gave us a text review.
Yes, thank you.
Yes, very much. Thank you. We do appreciate reviews, positive or negative. We always appreciate where we can improve.
Yep.
So they've been all positive though.
So we're perfect.
Yeah, we're doing nothing wrong.
So that just leads us, before we tell us where you can find us and sign off, I do want to point out this, folks, that leads us into December. And you'll probably be hearing this in December, which, as you all know, based on our pattern, we do take off from the books. We do have one episode that comes out for winter food. Look for that right before Christmas. So as we try to make medieval-styled food in the style of the series. So I'm looking forward to that.
Yep.
I'm going to start calling it Grath and Ublaz.
All right, Jeremy, do you mind telling us where they can find us?
Sure.
And don't forget, we have a news source, too.
Yep. You can find us at recorderonthewall.com. We are on Apple Podcasts, Google Play Podcasts, and now, brand new, we are on Spotify. You can also find us on the R. Eulelia subreddit. We are on the official Redwall forums. We also have a Twitter account at ROTWpod, which is also our email address, rotwpod@gmail.com. Send us anything through that, like questions, or if you would like to be a guest on the show, let us know. And yeah, that is it.
Don't send us pearls though.
Don't send us pearls yet.
We don't want them.
We're gonna throw them into the sea.
Yep.
And yeah, so we hope you enjoyed Pearls of Lutra. As Pete said, our next episode in December will be a food episode, and then we're going on to the long patrol.
Yahoo!
And look forward to that.
Yep.
All right, folks. That being said, I'm Pete.
I'm Jeremy.
I'm Matthias.
I'm Katie.
And we'll see you in the new year with the Long Patrol.
Bye,
Bye-bye.
everybody.
Auf Wiedersehen.